Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. I'm TCaptainX, and today we're going to discuss the close range meta after the Season 3 Reloaded update in Call of Duty Warzone 2.0. Similar to my long range meta that I just posted, I'm going to be using a color-coded Excel sheet to list these different guns and to try to make it easier for you guys to understand the strengths and weaknesses of each gun. This is somewhat subjective, of course, but I am trying to base this list off of actual data, and this is courtesy of TrueGameData.com, so big shout out to TGG as always for helping us find the meta. So this is my close range meta list, and I've got this broken down into 7 different categories. So we've got close range TTK, mid range TTK, or how good that time to kill is when you start to use it at farther ranges, mobility, which is going to cover both movement speed and ADS movement speed, aka strafe speed, aim down sight speed time, sprint to fire time, damage per mag, and lastly recoil. So let's first discuss time to kill. Now I can only show 5 guns even though I have 6, so I'll show the Kastov 70 for you in a second here, which is not included on this one. So Lachmann Sub in red down here at the bottom, best close range TTK. It's actually tied though with the Chimera in yellow. They have the same close range TTK. Next in the orange line, the Vanzev is just barely behind it here. It's barely not even noticeable, but the Vanzev slightly slower TTK, although it does have a few more meters of range until it drops off. Then the Vel is in blue, just a little bit behind again, but it has several more meters until its damage range drops off. So when you're in those kind of awkward mid-range fights, the Vel is going to do a bit better. Then the PDSW, which is in green, a little bit slower in its close range TTK overall, but it's got really good range until it has that drop off. So in those kind of little awkward mid-range fights, PDSW does very well. But of course, you can see the Chimera has crazy good TTKs out at long range. But one thing to keep in mind with the Chimera is it definitely has the most recoil out of all these options. Now this list, I took off the Lachmann Sub and I added the Kastov 70 for you, kind of to look more at sniper support options here. The Kastov is in yellow. It's got very good competitive close range TTKs. And again, it's very similar to the Chimera out till about 22 meters or so. And then it does fall off. But I would argue the Kastov probably has the least recoil. And in my opinion, the Kastov is probably the best overall sniper support just because of its combination of good TTK at range and also low recoil. So again, to kind of summarize that, Lachmann's your top tier at close range, but it struggles at mid range, whereas your Chimera has insane TTK at all ranges, but it struggles on some of these other categories. Now looking at mobility, which is movement speed and both the ADS movement speed or strafe speed, Lachmann is the best in terms of overall pure movement speed. The PDSW is right there too, but it also has some insane strafe speed. So if you like strafe builds, the PDSW is a ton of fun to use, and actually my PR is with the PDSW. Vanzev is just barely behind in terms of mobility, also has some very good strafe speeds if you like that. Vel is okay in terms of movement, and the Chimera and Kastov are just a little bit behind since they are assault rifles and not SMGs. Now looking at the aim down sight speed, Lachmann Sub is king and tends to have the fastest ADS. Vel and Kastov 70 for you though actually are both very good and have very good ADS. Now the Vanzev depends on how you build it. I have mine built to have a little bit better range, and because of that you have just a little bit slower ADS, although it has a great sprint to fire that makes up for that. PDSW and Chimera do have the slowest ADS times, so they do struggle just a little bit in that department. Now sprint to fire time, Vanzev, Vel, PDSW all have super fast sprint to fire times. Lachmann Sub is just a smidge behind, but then you get into the Chimera and the Kastov 70 for you. Because they're assault rifles, they have much slower sprint to fire times, meaning if you're sprinting and you have to pull your gun down, that time it takes is a lot longer. So they're both great options in close range, but you just have to be careful that you can't be running around like a maniac. You have to slow down. Maybe you turn off your auto attack sprint, or you just get in a good control where you're starting to pre-aim fights and try not to be sprinting when you're coming up on somebody. Now damage per mag, these are all pretty similar overall. The one thing I do want to explain is the reason I have a slash on the Lachmann Sub for mobility and DPM. The first number is with the 40 round mag. The second number is with the 50 round mag. So if you put the 50 round mag on the Lachmann Sub, you have really good damage per mag. I put it rated as a 9 out of 10. But I'm putting the 40 round as kind of the go-to option, especially in Warzone ranked, because that mobility, that little bit faster movement speed ADS is very important. But if you're playing ashika trios or quads, that 50 round mag on the Lachmann is really good because you can take out an entire team without needing to reload. Vanzev, Vel, and Chimera are all pretty similar, have pretty good damage per mag. Kastov 70 for you does have a notch above them, and then the PDSW is actually in last place, but you can easily take 2, maybe 3 people out with that fast shooting 50 round mag it has. Now recoil doesn't matter as much for a pure close range build. They're all pretty similar. I would say the PDSW and Chimera are probably the worst worse slightly. Kastov 70 is probably the best in terms of recoil, which again is why I think it's the best sniper support option and kind of the best mid-range option instead of close range. Chimera is, again, like I said, crazy good TTKs, and if you can handle that recoil, it could be the best sniper support also. So this is probably the most popular build for the Lachmann Sub right now. This is what the majority of the pros are running in Warzone ranked. Now, one thing I do want to quickly say is I tend to run the laser that is the just aim down sight speed, and it's not visible. This one doesn't give you as much sprint to fire benefits, but it's only like a difference of like 12 milliseconds, I believe. It's a very small difference, because if you use this one, they see the laser. So when I play with this one, I'm able to pre-aim a lot more, which with the fast TTK of Warzone 2, I feel is very important. And I feel like I win a lot more gunfights because I'm pre-aiming a lot more because of this. Falcon barrel gives us some more movement speed. Again, 40 round mag if you're playing ranked or maybe duos, trios. 50 round mag though, if you're playing quads, I'd recommend. Lachmann rear grip helps them with recoil control with basically no penalties. And then the recoil 56 stock is going to help our movement speed some, our sprint speed specifically, and recoil control some. So next we've got the Vanzev 9K SMG. So for this one, I do run the barrel that gives us a little bit more damage range, because once we tune it towards the aim down sight speed, we kind of get rid of some of those penalties that it has. And this gives us a few more meters of range. And I really like this just because it makes it more versatile overall. Again, I'm using that laser that is not visible, but you could absolutely switch this to the one that is visible if you want the slightly faster sprint to fire time. 45 round mags are biggest option. True tack grip for the better ADS and sprint to fire. You could switch this to the other one that helps with recoil control if you want to. And then the Ultra's at stock. This one helps a lot with aim walking speed or our strafe speed, and it makes it have not as fast of the PDSW strafe, but a very good strafe speed overall.
I've had enough of those types of players tonight.
So this is the Vel loadout. I actually covered a video on this, and True Game Data actually said, according to his AI tool, that this is the best SMG. The Schlager L203 barrel helps with our range. Again, that laser is not visible. 60 round mag. I used to use the 50, but they kind of buffed the bigger magazines where they don't really give you as much of a penalty. So I do like to go with the 60 for the extra damage per mag. Schlager Soldier Grip for the better sprint to fire. And then that Demo RXC stock helps with our movement speed. Now, if you feel like this one has too much recoil, I would probably say take off the stock and you could throw on like under barrel, like the shark fin, and tune it towards recoil, and that will help a good bit. Oh wait, there's one that's ghosted. So this is the P90 loadout, aka the PDSW. This is the one that has that crazy good strafe speed here, and I actually set my PR with this loadout. So I am using the FTAC Castle Comp muzzle on this one because it does have a little bit more recoil than the others. And then next, the light rail. This one's a weird attachment. It changes the iron sight slightly, but it gives you a ton more movement speed. Bruin Q900 grip for the better ADS and sprint to fire. The hollow extended stock helps a lot with that strafing speed. Again, just going with that 1 milliwatt non-visible laser, but you could switch it to the other one if you want a little bit better sprint to fire. One self-resing. Next, going into kind of the more sniper support options, the Chimera here. The Chimera is a great option. There's definitely a few different ways you can build it, because you could put on the barrel that helps with recoil control and gives it even more range, but that kills your sprint to fire. So I prefer a little bit snappier build like this. Now on the Kastov 70 for you and the Chimera, I am going with a laser that helps with sprint to fire since they are so slow. But again, you could just use the non-visible one and just focus on pre-aiming more and trying not to sprint as much. Edge 47 grip, I do that to help with that recoil control, since again the Chimera has a bit more recoil. 45 round mags are biggest option. D37 grip, this is the one that helps with recoil control, but if you want a faster build, you could go with the Bruin Flash for better sprint to fire and ADS. And then I am going with the blue dot. Iron sights are okay on this one, so you could definitely take it off and use extra attachments somewhere else if you want though.
Good work.
I'm him! Oh my gosh!
Enemy
And lastly, the Kastov 70 for you, which personally is my favorite sniper support to use right now. So again, I am using the laser that is visible to help with the sprint to fire time, but I've used the other one that's not, and I still love it a lot. You just got to be careful about not sprinting again. Iron sights are okay on the 74U. You could definitely take it off and use an attachment elsewhere, but I feel like I'm a lot more accurate with it when I use the blue dot. Ultra that stock, again, this one helps with our strafing speed a lot. True Tac grip helps with that sprint to fire and ADS. You could switch this for the other one that helps with the recoil control, especially if you're using this on a Mazra. You want it to be better at longer range. And that 45 round mag does give us a lot of damage per mag. YOLO? YOLO. So that's going to wrap up today's video. If you need to see the long range meta video, we covered that just a few days ago. I'll leave that linked here at the end. Otherwise, I hope you found this video helpful. If you're new here, you want to stay up to date on what's the best loadouts to use in Call of Duty Warzone 2, along with tips and settings to help you become a better player, consider leaving a like and subscribing for more. We also stream here live on YouTube if you want to come say hi and check out a live stream. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next one.